guys. Welcome to Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered. Thank you so much for joining us. And we are doing a recap episode of Todd Chance, Meaghan and I. And so that was a really good episode. It was probably one of my favorites. Todd is just, his voice, I listened to it today, is like butter.
I wrote, cool guy, great voice. First thing I wrote.
Yeah, he's great.
He's got a good radio voice.
Yeah, he does. Well, he was in radio, so that makes sense why he has a good radio voice. Mm-hmm. So what we do on the off weeks typically is either Ben and Andy or Jason and Meaghan talk about whatever episode it is. And it's just kind of a cool way to bring our wives into the fold a little bit. And it gives us a female perspective also, you know, as a spouse and as a just a female fan in general. And it's just kind of a cool way for us to do that. So if you have not listened to the Todd Chance interview, please go back and listen to that before you begin this. I mean, you can listen to this. It doesn't matter. It just might.
Spoilers everywhere, though.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't anything breaking, but it was a super good episode. I really like Todd, and it sounds like we are in the works of, he is in the works of creating a Dad Up podcast. And so what do you think you can do for me? I was like, I can produce. So we'll see what happens with that. Low commitment on my end, so that's good.
That'll be helpful.
But it'll be fun to sit in here and be a producer instead of being a host and driving the content and stuff like that. So what did you think about the interview with Todd?
First and foremost, I want to say, as far as female fans go, I'm your number one fan, honey.
Of course.
Number one.
Are you trying to kiss my butt?
Nope. When you said, it's nice to get bring the wives on, and because
I did not say the wives. You just said that. I said our wives.
Our wives.
Please don't do that. I work so hard.
No, I wasn't. It's not even where I was going with that. I was actually going to say something real nice.
No, I know. It was just kind of a joke. Like, isn't that a running joke for the last, 17
I guess
episodes?
I don't know how to say it from my perspective. You're bringing your wives, I guess, on the show. Us wives. We ladies.
Yeah, but I could have said, when we bring the wives on.
Cut. I'm already done.
No. That's staying in here. This is
throw in the towel.
This is evidence. Ben will love to hear this.
I quit.
Anyways.
Uninvited from the cabin. No evidence. Anyway, no, it was really good. I think it's up there with one of the best interviews you've had. We've talked about it with when you guys had Eric Zane on, that it's different interviewing somebody that does radio, TV-ish type stuff for a living. It just flows a little bit smoother because they just have a way of keeping that conversation going. But a little bit different from the Eric Zane episode. You and Todd had more of a dialect, more of a back and forth. And I dare say you have a little bit more in common with Todd, a little bit more to talk from than you did with Eric Zane. I just thought it was really good content all the way through. Yeah,
I was I always listen to these podcasts on a technical end, and I definitely kept saying, yep, yep. Because I
didn't notice.
Oh, man. And, of course, I kept saying in some of my stories. And earlier in the podcast, because I noticed Todd saying literally, and I wasn't going to say anything, whatever. But then he caught himself. I'm like, that is your crutch word. And then I said, I know, I hate when podcasts said like this. And towards the end of the podcast, I was telling a story, and I said it a million times. But I'm glad you didn't notice, because I felt when I listened to it today, I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. But what do you say when someone's telling a story?
Correct.
I didn't want to say, that's super interesting.
Yeah. Well, when you're actively listening, it's hard to not just, you can't nod on a podcast.
Yeah,
nobody
exactly.
knows what you're doing.
And I didn't, it just seemed distracting on my end, but you're right. Nobody probably noticed it.
I did not notice it. I didn't notice his things. Literally, I didn't notice that until he brought it up, and you had said you noticed it. I didn't notice it at all. But I think you're also tuned into your verbal crutch a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
Mine is like. I say like, oh,
I think that's
time.
everybody's, especially when you're describing an activity or something.
I find that I type it sometimes when I'm typing along.
Oh, gosh,
Instead
no.
of for an example, I'll be typing along and say, just like we were going to do for this thing, like as in this. And I'm like, gosh, delete.
Well, I guess in your emails that would be more of a thing, but I don't ever type that out.
I do a lot of communication emails.
Or maybe I do
how I talk.
and I just don't notice it.
Well, we don't email back and forth so much.
Who?
You and me.
Well, yeah, but I mean when I'm sending out emails for other things.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Anyway, so back to it. No, I thought it was great. He's got such a good voice. I would listen to that.
He needs
podcast.
He doesn't have any time. He needs to book himself on some sort of Fiverr to read audiobooks or something. Because his voice, it's just beautiful.
Well, all you have to do, it doesn't take all that much time. We actually looked into it. My work partner, Denise, and I looked into it for Jaleesa, who has this very soothing voice, and would say, you should do meditation, and read audiobooks. There's some place out of, I think, Holland, maybe, that does it.
Yeah. Well, you can get on Fiverr too, or you can somebody that has a good voice. And again, Todd's super busy, but Fiverr, there's sites out there, gig sites where you can be like, do voiceover work. Like that's all you do.
Get you audition?
No, that you put your ad on Fiverr. It starts at $5, and you're like, I'll read your voiceover, and they send you the script, and you read it to them, and they pay you the $5. Fiverr takes their cut, and then you move on to the next one.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they have that's where we got our logos, our animations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I suddenly wish I had a better voice.
I know.
Totally do that in my spare time.
I seriously wish I had something too. Like, hey.
You could Barry White it up and do some work.
Yeah, I probably could.
Hey, baby, it's your birthday.
Hey, you looking for a good time?
Oh, no.
Please call 1-900.
I didn't say you'd be a sex worker.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. Kick them nasty thoughts.
That make me laugh. I have the workout coughs.
All right, let's get into the meat here.
All right, the meat of it. So if you would, for me, just kind of recap more what the daddy-daughter stuff is. What is is it called Daddy-Daughter Time?
Yeah, it's daddydaughtertime.org.
Okay, so quick recap of what that is and how you even heard about it.
It's a membership for $100 a year, and they have one event a month, and dads and daughters, or stepdads and daughters, or a male person in the life, whatever it is, and the daughter, to bond with them. That's the brass tacks of it. There's really nothing super complicated about it at all, and I think I found out of it from Jesper.
Okay.
And yeah, I did it for a while. Avery and I did. And then, we talked about on the podcast, Todd had I guess it was 7 months of, he didn't realize it. He thought people were canceling.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't re-upping. So they took a hit on that. So I have not re-upped, but I am. But I haven't talked to you about that too, but we give money to certain things. I really am feeling drawn to give money, maybe change the way we distribute our giving and give some to them, because this is a nonprofit, and it's just such a cool thing, and the passion behind him is great.
Oh, so. Just as a donation, not because they also have something where you can specifically kind of almost sponsor another dad, right? You can pay for another.
I'm not sure.
Or he just talked about that would be a cool thing to do if somebody couldn't afford to go.
I think he has he talked about just a regular reoccurring donation.
Okay.
Just like we do for Young Lives.
Yeah.
Just every month it just drafts and it just goes to the organization, to their budget. So.
Yeah, the whole concept is really neat. And I remember the things when you and Avery did go, the things that you did were really cool. And like you guys talked about, it's $100, but truly for what you do.
Yeah, it's $4 a person.
Yeah.
And we would go to Craig's Cruisers, and when we went to Craig's Cruisers, I think we got to do the go-karts and the laser tag and the ropes course. I think we got 3 things, and then I think that was it. But the food, and there's always food.
Which is insane. Avery just went tonight with her youth group, and it was $15 for her to go. And for $100 that, $100 for 1 year, every month you could do something like Crick's Cruisers, which is fairly pricey.
Yep. So they do all kinds of events. They do like a braiding event, braiding your daughter's hair.
Gosh, that makes me die inside.
I mean, I don't think I personally would want to go to that one. I just not interested.
Well, that's because I braid hair. What if?
Right.
I mean, you learned how to do buns for ballet because there were days you had to take Avery to class.
That's true.
And, you have the hashtag blessing of having a spouse or a significant other at home who can, do the braiding, do the stuff. If you were a single dad, which is, I love. So the story he told about the dad's bonding over braiding hair, I was like, that's the sweetest thing I've ever heard. I love all those things, all those daddy-daughter.
Yeah.
There was a video on YouTube of a dad who figured out his daughter had really, really long hair. And so he would pull it all up in a ponytail and hold it real tall and make her spin. So she's spinning and spinning, and eventually the hair tightens, and he just brings it down, and it goes into a little bun, and he puts a thing on it. He's like, done.
What's a thing?
Oh, sorry, a hair tie.
Okay.
Sorry, I was making the gesture with my hand, which also looks inappropriate. But I love all that stuff. Just seeing dads spending time. When I went to deliveries for work, when a baby was being born, moms cry, whatevs. The dads ever cried, everyone in the room would get tearful. I'm like, I just cannot pull it together.
I don't know. I guess it is something endearing about a dad, letting down his being vulnerable, letting down his tough man thing.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the gist of the Daddy Daughter organization. It's great. $100 a year, and that's a steal. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised he hasn't raised it.
Yeah, and then he also does extra content, Dad Up, which is an acronym for dependable, approachable, devoted, understanding, and patient. So just sends it out, some emails, just trying another way to reach.
Yeah, and at the event, he gives you a card, a Dad Up card, that specifically says something for whatever that is.
It's like Man Up, Dad Up. So instead of Man Up, it's Dad Up, which I love because truly you see a lot of, I don't know why it is that it's always, the mom, if you get pregnant, you don't want to be pregnant. If you're the woman carrying the baby, like, you're screwed. If you're the dad involved, 50-50 if you have to stick around. I mean, people aren't happy if you don't, but it's not this, oh my gosh, he walked away. I feel like there is a little bit of a pass for men to not have to be fathers.
Yeah. I mean, and some people might think that. I mean, I think I would be pissed if someone I knew did
I'd
that.
be pissed too, but I'm saying when you hear, their dad never was around, if you heard, their mom abandoned them, it just, you feel differently.
I see what you're saying.
There's a little bit of a societal shift on that one. And I just think it's awesome that Todd took a situation going through a divorce and not being able to see his little girl and specifically looking for stuff to do that would with the purpose of bonding, right? Because so often you can just say, I just want to do fun stuff with you so you have fun with me. Like, I just want you to have a really good time. I want to be the more fun parent. I want you to only have fun with me so you miss me and that stuff. We experienced that a little bit, not of you wanting to be the fun parent, but just when we would have Nolte on the weekends, it was all fun all the time. When I met you, you're like, all right, we're going to Chuck E. Cheese, and then we're going to the movies, and we're doing this thing. I was like, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, you're trying to get all your time in 2 weekends a month.
Yeah.
And then there was less punishment because it was just, you just felt guilty. Like, why am I punishing my kid? I only see him for, it's Friday at 5 to it's 48 hours.
Yeah.
And 24 of that, typically, maybe take a few hours of that is sleeping.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's tough. And especially if your house is the rules are a little more lax. We want to go out and have a lot of fun. Then you start seeing some of those behavioral issues at your house. And you're like, crap, I do have to punish you. And
yeah,
we definitely ran into some of that too. And no, thank you. But I just overall, and just listening to his philosophy and everything, and how he talked about saying no to moms, because when you're at the event, you want the daughter, when she needs something, to look to that dad, and just how early on he's already recognizing, and then helping dads recognize that that's super important, that you're going to a thing, if she needs help, she looks to you and learns to rely on you, and not always mom, because marriage is not guaranteed, right? And if she's only relying on mom when she needs something, needs help or whatever, and the dad defaults to, you know, I'm going to go like wash my car and be that guy. That's, if you do end up separating, that's harder to then establish a bond later. And
an early bond is, which, I mean, we're not saying anything that anyone doesn't know. Although when I said that to Todd, he's like, yeah, but no one's studying it. Because he had said I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. He's like, yeah, it does to you. And I'm like, I just, you know, talking about the bond, or how, you know, spending more time with your kid or with your daughter will lead less into teen pregnancy and drug use. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, that's not the common thread. So,
well, I think the research hadn't been done for a long time, because when you ask, we do a parent panel where we talk about, shut up, it's work
you
stuff.
You relate every story to work.
I work and then I come here. What do you want? What do you want me to talk about?
Like, this is like the third one. We're like 12 minutes in. Oh,
anyway,
16 minutes in.
It's
not a bad thing.
The question is, when did you first feel like a parent?
Yeah.
To a premature baby, right? Who is born and put into this isolate. And the dads are always like, immediately. I had a sense of responsibility. There's like 7 parents that I interview. Every single dad, immediately. Moms, it was the first time they held them. So there, and we always laugh at it. So when did the dads feel like a dad? Immediately. So you can see how they may not do the research, because dads are bonded with their daughters immediately.
Well, when they're saying that, they're just looking at it as a responsibility.
Right. But I'm saying that's why I think the research hasn't been done, especially and looked at the impact on the daughter.
Yeah.
Right. Because also until, you know, when did Todd say they started looking at it? But, you know,
I think mid 80s.
Yeah. Because before that, who cared about the impact on the daughter? Because she just needed to be a housewife and make babies. That was it. But overall, super awesome. I was excited for you to have him on. And so if you know anybody who has a daughter and they're looking for stuff to do, because that was really where you looked into it, because you were just kind of wanting to spend time with Avery, but not just hang around the house. And
to get out of the house. Yeah,
to go do something. And that was amazing. She loved it. Yeah. So I do hope you re-up it. She would like that.
I bet she would.
She would. She likes spending time with you. So speaking of dad stuff, I kind of wanted to transition and talk about the thing that you and Todd had in common, which is being divorced with a kid and it having been a very not amicable split.
Yeah.
And how that went for you. Now, I came into your life when Nolte was little, but not that little.
7.
And so what I don't know, what the timeline for me is, I know you guys separated. Was there a custody agreement? Did you guys try outside of court to do anything with the custody? You went right into, because you were not fans of each other.
Yeah, no, it's hard for me to remember, but I don't remember anything other than a court order.
Me either. And I don't, you never talked about it. So I was just double checking that. And just how, you know, it was very eye-opening for me to watch the struggles you had with your ex with custody, in that it was very unfair for fathers. It's still very unfair for fathers. And that you had said, you know, the second you walked out that door, that you were a part-time dad, and that she still had all the power in that. And numerous times where she would refuse you at the door and you couldn't take him. And there was really nothing you could do it and there was no ramifications either for her actions.
Yeah. A lot of the divorce attorneys now for men say don't leave the house.
Yeah.
Because once you leave the house, it kind of just sets the motion of you left, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously if there's a violent thing going on or it's just whatever, but as soon as you leave the house, you would think that it still should be the same. But I really think if you stand your ground and be like, no, I'm not leaving, but we're getting divorced, and just file the motion and do all those things, and I think it would show the judge like, oh, this dad really wants to be in these kids' lives. I know logically it should be the same regardless, but I think it makes a statement that says you're not leaving the house, but you're still filing for divorce.
Right. Oh, it's so messy. And it truly is. They didn't even bat an eye at looking at 50-50. I mean, not even for a second.
Yeah, like I said on the interview with Todd is that, I went to court and they're like, maybe I didn't say it on there, but I went to court and they said, nope. I said, I'm home more in the winter. I'm off. I have more time to spend with them. No, that's not enough to change the custody agreement. So I'm like,
yeah. And you kind of gave up trying to get more custody
until he was 16. And then he chose to come. And I think we filed a motion, and that was good. So that was every other week after that. And
it took until he could, quote unquote, and you had to be 16. You couldn't be.
I don't think so. I think.
No, it was. You had to be over a certain age, and it was. We thought it was 11 or 13, and it wasn't. It was. I almost thought it was 18. I think it was at
16. You could decide. The kid could decide, but before that,
I thought that was you.
No.
It's like, jeez.
He's sleepy. I don't. Doesn't matter. We're way past that point. So.
Well, I know it's just an interesting timeline for people that potentially are listening, that, to bear in mind for both people in that divorce, that it would be easy if you and I got divorced tomorrow and I was really mad at you, it would be really easy to default and allow the court system to give you very, very, very slim time with our kids. And that's,
well, the standard is every other weekend,
which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Should be 50-50.
And then split the summers.
Yeah.
So
that's a bummer. So what am I trying to read here? Oh,
it looks pretty sloppy.
I know. I was writing really fast. So if you could go back to young Jason, who's in the midst of getting a divorce and all that custody stuff and all of that, if you could give yourself advice during that time, if you had a strong male role model to step in, what advice would you have given yourself?
Probably just to take the high road, like we talked about, and just be like, it'll be fine. He'll figure it out. But it's hard for me to say that advice, knowing how terrible the ex was about it. But that's the advice I would give. Like, don't fight with her. I mean, my gosh, it is so loud, his snoring.
He's tired. The dryer repairman came today.
I know.
He had a big day.
I feel like he's sleeping right up there. But that's, no one probably can hear it, but we can hear it. That's the advice I would give, because I think Nolte internalized a lot of stuff because we fought so much. And it took the conversations with you, and even after we started dating and got married, it was still probably a year after that before I finally calmed down.
I think it was years, plural, until there was a point where we actually just stopped replying to any kind of, inflammatory thing that she would do. And she kind of pitted herself out eventually because she got in a reaction. That's what she wanted. That's what she wanted to.
And it's tough because I had a lot of therapy work to do, and I wasn't even at that point. So people that know me for sure. I mean, I'm kind of an edgy guy now. Imagine 15 years ago, it was like all my emotions were right on the edge, and it just took one little thing and she sent me over the edge. So, and I'm not going to say I was an angel in all this, because it takes two to tango. So it tango doesn't happen when one person takes the high road. And once that started happening, there was no more tango.
Yeah, that's true. So we can always look back at parenting stuff and see how we screwed everything up. But what I want to ask you is, how do you think Nolte has benefited from your parenting decisions after you got divorced?
Like right after we got divorced,
No,
or
just in general, how do you think he's benefited? Not from you getting divorced, but just your parenting decisions since then.
Well, I hope he looks back and says, well, my dad, he decided that it wasn't worth fighting over. And I don't even know what to say. Like, how did he benefit? I don't think he did. I mean,
you don't think he's benefited at all from any of your... How did you change? Did you change the way you parented him when you...
Well, yeah. I mean, I had no role models for parenting. So, I mean, even the first 7 years when we were together, I don't even remember. I mean, it was just a ball of red in front of me all the time. I mean, I think the same benefits our kids have gotten, just a strong work ethic, those kind of things. So, yeah, I'm sorry I don't have a great answer for that. I just really don't. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought that would bring you some joy getting to think
of how... It actually is not. It actually is bringing me a little angst about, how he internalizes everything.
Nope, I said benefits. I didn't say...
I know, but that's what my default is to go like, how did I screw him up? But...
No, I literally said, we're going to focus on benefits.
I know, but my mind says I can't think of any benefits. So, and you laugh, but that's true. What you must have like 6 things ready to say because you chuckled like there's so many.
I'm chuckling at you because you're ridiculous because you can't even think of any way that you have made a good impression on your son's life.
Well, so you give me examples.
So I agree. The strong work ethic is one.
Yeah. So I gave you one.
I think he saw through. You got remarried, your ex got remarried. I don't know what their relationship is like. But you started making healthy relationship decisions and he got to see that.
Yeah.
He got to see more of a give and take, more of, instead of just fighting for conflict resolution and fighting for the upper hand and the win, to see a back and forth and to see what support looked like.
Yeah, I think he hasn't been around for a lot of it, but like the conflict resolution between you and I, because I've not had a relationship like that ever. And so I think he probably saw that like, they argued, but they fixed it. And that's what we try to do with our kids. Like if someone pisses someone off, like and there's some tears or whatever, we're like, all right, let's calm down and then let's try to fix it and figure out, let's talk it out. Why you were upset and those kind of things instead of just bursting out in anger. And so I know he saw some of that at the tail end, but man, I don't know. I mean, I know he's a good kid.
That's saying something that through what went on. And when we started taking the high road, there's a lot he doesn't know. There's a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes that even he doesn't know. And even through that, and that stuff, whether someday he gets to know those things or not, he's a good boy.
Yeah, right? In general, he's a good boy. He doesn't really drink, doesn't do drugs, got a goal, and what are you laughing at?
I never measure if a kid is a good kid if they don't drink or do drugs, but...
Well, what? He's not a meth head.
I know that.
There's a lot of kids out there that are meth heads.
That's true. I was going to say, he is smart. He is kind.
Yes.
He's got a big heart.
Yep.
And high justice, which will serve him well, and he'll learn his lessons through.
I got high justice too.
Yeah, you do. So does our daughter. But I see a lot of you in him. Especially when he's getting salty about work stuff and that work ethic thing comes out. Like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
But
He's a little millennial though. Sometimes with some things.
He's also 22.
I know.
And I think one of the benefits of seeing that is that, when you're looking for a spouse, somebody that potentially you can spend the rest of your life with, you either gravitate to what is comforting to you, which is what you know of your parenting, how you've been parented. You gravitate towards someone that's similar to your dad or your mom, or you go the whole other direction, which is kind of what he's done. And he has found somebody who balances him very, very well.
Yeah.
And he's tightly wound and she's the sweetest thing. And they really work together. And so I think a benefit from seeing how a marriage can go completely awry and fall apart is to look at this and say, okay, I don't want that.
Yeah.
I know that the personality type for me is not somebody who is also very, very stubborn and strong-headed, because so am I, and that's not going to work. And it's really worked for them. And, we had babies when he was 11. And so when we had Sully, he was 13. And all the time, you see this? This is why you don't have babies in high school. I haven't been to a movie like 4 years. Like, I got it, Meaghan. Like, no, you don't. You don't know. So I think those little things did shape him. He is a good kid, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. And yeah, he's a little tightly wound. He's going to figure some of that out. But there are benefits. You can totally get it wrong early and repair some of that later.
Yeah, I mean, look at, and I bring this up because that's all I listen to. Like, if you look at
Joe Rogan,
if you look at comedians, they're all not that he's broken, but it all comes from a story.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Yeah, was it unhealthy till he was about 16? Probably, it was unhealthy. But
who, Nolte?
Yeah, well, the situation that he was in.
I thought we were still talking about Joe Rogan.
No. I'm just saying greatness comes from that kind of stuff.
Sure.
You don't see a lot of great people doing things that came from the silver spoon or without any trials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, not that I would have changed it if I could.
Sure.
Yeah, the only thing I would change is I would still get divorced, but I would just not be an a-hole.
Yeah.
So
easier said than done. You were young and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
What's different about parenting our kids than, besides the fact that you were a lot younger? I've asked you that question before, is, would you rather have been a younger parent or an older parent? And how does that feel different? But how does parenting feel different with our kids versus...
I feel like I have more of a bond with our kids, with the younger ones, just because I'm around them every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, there isn't a day where I don't see them, other than like you guys go up north or I'm doing something, but I get to see them every day, so I'm able to establish that bond. I never really got that bond with Nolte.
Well,
I mean,
it's hard
almost
when
impossible.
He's so little. So one of the things that I always talk about with my mom friends about parenting, the thing about parenting is that your kids really let you know where your faults lie, right? If you got a potty mouth, your 3-year-old is going to drop something. Oh, shit. Like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Or, our daughter who's very emotional, and that makes me tap into, I am a very emotional person, and I feel like, oh my gosh, she's going to end up just like me, and I want to change what I'm modeling so that she doesn't have to feel that way, right? It just, you start to change the things that you don't like about yourself that are starting to manifest in your kids. Like, you organically want to start working on that, and because you don't want them to feel that way or to emulate that thing you don't like about yourself. And you don't get to do that when your kids are around 48 hours a month, basically. And that's really
more
hard.
Than 48 a month.
Well, you know what I mean. I can't do math.
96.
I can't do math. But I think that's some of what's hard, is that you just want to love him really hard while he's in our possession, and then when he's gone, and we didn't have any communication with his mom very much either, so we didn't get to know his day-to-days, and he didn't want to talk about it because he didn't want to deal with it. And so I can see how you feel a little more bonded with them.
And I just have, I'm in a better place in my life. I've gone through therapy or going through therapy. And so I've been able to,
and you're married to someone amazing.
Humble much?
Yeah, it's my favorite pie.
Want some whipped cream on that bitch?
Snap.
Well, I wasn't calling you a bitch.
I know.
Oh, okay.
You threw a swear in, though.
You said shit earlier.
I was using it as an example.
I don't know where I'm at.
Okay. How is parenting a girl different than parenting a boy?
Is this
for
a
you?
Todd Chance recap or is this a parenting recap? I'm just curious. Is there any more Todd Chance stuff or is it just parenting down the list? It's okay.
I mean, do you want to talk more about
Don't
Todd
get
Chance?
snooty. I'm just saying, let's try when we do these and just to focus on, let's break down. That's a breakdown of the episode. I do like your questions, though. They are good. They're making me uncomfortable.
Oh.
Don't get all...
No, I'm reading through my notes.
Don't get all mousy.
I will get a little mousy. If you don't want to know what I'm writing down and going to ask you, then I feel like you don't get a lot of say in what...
Well, I'm not. Well, yeah, I do. It's my podcast. I'm just saying, is there more? I just was curious. I like the parenting questions. I do. It's good. It's good.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
talk
I was gonna kind of segue back.
Okay, well, let's continue on then. If you got other stuff, then I'm happy to listen to it. So, what was your last question? How does parenting a girl differ? Well, she's a mini you, so I mean that kind of parenting is extremely hard. She cries.
I don't know how I feel about that.
That was a snort.
I did.
No, she cries all the time.
She's a girl.
Yeah, but that doesn't give it the. I feel like you're doing your sex disservice by saying, "Well, she's a girl." You know what I mean? No, that doesn't mean so. If you're a girl, you don't need to cry all the time. But I'm not that there's anything wrong with that, but I mean, when you say that, you knock it down a peg by saying she's a girl.
Fair enough.
So, but no, she does cry all the time.
She does.
But she's such a sweetheart. It's what you brought up about, you see the negative stuff. I see that in her like crazy. Not negative, but just strong-willed and strong everything.
She's an interesting mix of the both of us. What are you about to say?
No, it's hard for me, like with Nolte, it's hard for me to see his mom in him. I can't see anything. And maybe I got the blinders on.
Blinders on, or you PTSD'd
right.
A lot of that out, so you don't see it?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you
all the crappy stuff. Just do that.
Well, that's convenient. No, but with Avery, I can see, the emotions, and then she doesn't really have a temper, but she's a stubborn, and she has a big justice system.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but those, again, when I talk to Heather, my therapist, she's like, those are going to take you far in life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll take you farther than being meek and not kind. I guess she's still kind, but I don't know the word for that, but.
Well, where I struggle is letting people walk all over me.
Yeah.
I'm too kind, and I think too much about what others need and feel at the expense of what I need and feel. And she doesn't. She has it. She's the best of you and I and the worst of you and I together. It will serve her so well if we can just hang on for the ride and make it.
I hate it. I hate it when she tries to do what you used to do.
Baby you?
Yeah, I hate it.
She does. She defaults to when people are upset, she wants to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, when you did it, it was fine because, like,
yeah, you benefited big time from
right.
that.
But when I see it, even if it's benefiting me, it makes me I'm disgusted by it.
I don't like it that she does it either.
I know you don't. So, and we try to correct it. We take her to the side and say, listen. It's okay that I'm pissed off. You don't have to try to make everything happy and whatever. I mean, I'll get over whatever it is, and I'm not mad at you, and I'm just frustrated about whatever, and it'll be okay.
And I think that's super important for any kid, but thinking about the statement I made earlier, where you really do seek out in a significant other for a long-term relationship, you seek out what is comforting to you or the opposite. And usually people that seek out the opposite, it's because something traumatic happened and they're like, nope, right? I am a polar opposite of your ex.
Yeah.
Right. And you need that balance.
Right. That's why we didn't work. I mean, other than she's crazy, but she was stubborn and bullheaded, and so was I, and I was 19.
Yeah. Dummy.
Can you don't say I'm a dummy.
19. I mean, everybody's kind of a dummy.
Oh, no. Yeah, in general, I was a dummy.
Yes.
I thought you were like specific to something. I'm
no.
Like, rude.
19. Dummy category. But that stuff is so good. And circling back to the stuff that Todd talks about, all that research and the reason he's doing all this to get that little bit of a bond, even if you don't have full-time custody of your daughter, say you are separated and you have your daughter, and you get to go to these events where it's built around bonding at a fun thing, not just going to a fun thing. And, you see that all the time parents are on their phones and they're not super connected. And his purpose is to have dads connect, and that is his goal. So it kind of bleeds into the event.
Yeah, you can feel it. And it was really cool for him to say that was like his therapy.
Yeah.
That, because, Grace doesn't get to go to those events.
Yeah.
And it's so, I mean, it made sense, but I was just like, oh, she's got to be so bummed out about that. You know what I mean? But yeah, she was pretty spunky too. I know you didn't really talk to her much. I didn't either, but just the way she presented herself when she like met me, she just walked in with confidence. I was oh, okay. All right.
Gonna watch out for that one.
That one's gonna rule the world.
Tornado. We have one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's really interesting. A lot of people do that. People who will, they lose a child and it springboards them to start, I do this walk to raise money or those things. And they take that
tragedy
and heal themselves through something else. And yeah, it was cool to hear him say, and he's passionate about it, but it's also healing his heart. And so he's in the right place, because we've been a part of organizations where the person is doing it for glory versus.
Yeah. Well, just like I said, tragedy brings great things. I mean, it sounds sick, but usually, I personally haven't found that great thing yet. I mean, maybe I have, I don't know. I mean, maybe my lot in life is to peer pressure people to go to therapy. Oh, that was close.
I almost lost my water.
We almost had to buy a new mic. That is surprising. We haven't fried something in all of this.
Yeah, you guys have open cans all the time down here.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe my calling is to do that. Maybe my calling is this podcast to talk about mental health, and if it helps one person, I might never know.
I think you don't give yourself enough credit.
I know. I mean, I do and I don't. I just...
Everybody's platform is different. Whether you inspire one person.
Yep.
I mean, would one person be enough?
I would need to... One person would be enough if they would reach out to me and say it. Not that I'm looking for the credit, but there's nothing better than when someone reaches out to you and said, this really helped. Like Ben will do that on occasion.
Yeah, he did do that.
Even we had a conversation the other day and I gave him some unsolicited advice and I said, sorry about that. And he's like, no, you know what? I'm going to take your advice. I think it's a good idea. And it's just like, oh, okay. I wasn't just, I mean, I thought, I mean, if I bounced it off 10 people, the advice I gave him, I think everyone would agree. But it's just nice to get that feedback every once in a while.
It is. And when you do receive feedback like that, it's very soul-filling, because a lot of the times what you did is you were just being you. Yeah. And it impacted that person in a way that you didn't think it did.
Right.
I save all the little cards. It's work stuff. Anyway, students get me cards. Yeah. And I save them because I say, someday, if you come back here and you're a nurse, I would love to have the card, like, to be a part of.
No, that's cool.
Something that inspired you. I love that. I've had a couple moments like that mostly in my career. I don't think in my personal life I've had many moments of you really impacted me. But you also, you're there's some faith stuff in there too that you just don't know. And that's part of the design, right? There was something, it was on Facebook though, but that a guy was feeling suicidal and somebody just happened to be nice in that day and was feeling like nobody wants me here, and was very, very in a dark place and just felt like nobody was nice to them. They didn't have anyone in their life, and just randomly some stranger was just, hi, how was your day? As they were passing, and there was a little bit of light there.
Yeah.
Right. And that person flipped it just enough to say, okay, maybe I won't kill myself today. Right.
Yeah.
And he started looking for that a little bit more and finding that there is more kindness, because you can find it either way. You can find darkness or you can find kindness. You just gotta look.
That's why I hate Facebook so much. It's turned into
it's awful.
If it's fighting, that's what Facebook algorithm makes you see.
Yeah.
It just sucks. I just wish there's no pure platform anymore, and it's just frustrating that because that's what moves the needle. People want to fight about stuff.
That's true.
And I like to fight. Don't get me wrong. I like to argue, but I don't know how we got on the.
We talked about Facebook, but I do like that again, and I know I keep coming back to it and coming back to, Todd's got rules that if you like it, tell another dad about it, right? Which worked for us. That's how we know about it, how you met Todd. And then for the daughters, go kiss and hug your dad and tell him that you love him. Like, that's so amazing. And just throwing that rule out there, that might be something that makes dads and daughters uncomfortable until it becomes more routine.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. We had which also I love that Todd used He-Man Woman Haters Club, because do you know what that's from?
No.
It's from Married with Children. Al Bundy formed the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Oh,
they
really?
had t-shirts and
that's
complained about
funny.
their wives. But I don't remember where I was going with that. Oh no.
He-Man.
Oh, just that it can be an uncomfortable thing to get hugs and stuff. And our daughter was I don't need no man. I mean, independent from the womb.
Yeah.
Didn't want to be snuggled. Did not want any of that. And she's only just recently started seeking us out for that physical touch. And she'll snuggle up to me on the couch and just give me all these hugs. And I don't even know what to do with her sometimes because she's never done that. But I see her, actually, she does it to you more than she does to me. And that's awesome, because I flash forward to her being 22, like her oldest. And I hope she sidles up and gives you a hug, or, when she's laying on the floor sobbing like the other night, that she finds comfort in you being up there.
Yeah. No, I feel our bond is growing a little bit more, and it's so important, man, for those girls. I mean, less important for a boy. Well, it's not less important, but I mean, it's important for both to have that positive role model in your life. I didn't have a positive female one, and I haven't had really any positive female ones my whole life up until you. And then
Booyah.
Humble pie, yo.
Listen, I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. I have always gravitated a little bit to broken people.
Well, I felt like, I hate saying like, oh, God has a plan for everyone. I mean, I feel like it's true. I do believe that. But I mean, there's sin in the world. So I feel like everything isn't planned out. Like, I can't.
I don't like the pre-planned stuff, but I think there is a trajectory for everyone.
Yeah, but everyone's like, I mean, there's people to get to the point like, God planned for me to pick up this business card.
Oh, yeah. Well, those people are weirdos.
Yeah. I mean, but now I lost my train of thought. Son of a biscuit eater. I don't know.
We were talking about that. I think you were going for, you didn't have any good female role models until I came into your life.
Yeah.
And that God has a plan for everyone. Did you feel like?
Oh, I thought, yeah, that's where it was. That I think God put you, even though you weren't equipped to handle what was going on, the way your personality was set up, that unfortunately you learned from your mom to fix everything, was a good Band-Aid at the time. And now you're kind of, you've been going to therapy yourself, and you've been kind of growing as a woman. And so it's been a little wishy-washy, wonky, flippity moppity, whatever, but it's getting better. But I think God was just like, okay, we got to plug this one in. I mean, we'll fix her later. Like right now, we need to fix this guy and get him back on the straight and narrow. So,
well, and here's the thread. Get it?
I said a thread earlier and you didn't catch it.
I probably didn't. But in that, right? So when we met, and I was way too accommodating.
Yeah.
For a lot of your bullshit that you threw my way. But we get married, we start going through, and, Todd did talk about, he started having panic attacks and didn't know what they were. About 2-3 years ago, I started having panic attacks.
Yeah.
And that's what started my work. But what the faith part of it, the God part of it, the thread, is that when I needed to start focusing on fixing that part that you really were benefiting from, I needed to start changing the way I was doing that, because it was that way I was putting everything that I wanted to do, everything that I needed on the back burner to do for my family, do for my husband, do for everybody else. And I'm finally physically manifesting that. And you had gone through enough therapy that you were in a good place to step alongside me and help me walk through that. And it was bumpy for a bit.
I mean, it still is, but it's got it really all of a sudden in the last like 3 months, it's kind of.
I kind of hit a really good stride in therapy.
It's kind of come around. Like, I don't feel like we're having too many where like, Judas Maud, like, I can't handle this,
Yes, but it's just how that worked out.
Yeah.
Right? 13 years ago, we were in the perfect place to deal with each other. And then fast forward 13 years when I need it, that we're in a good place for that to happen, and it balanced itself out. And that's how I feel like there is a trajectory there. Yeah. And, with Todd, that this yucky thing happened, and he took the tragedy of it and made it into something that so many dads get to benefit from.
Right.
And that it's not widely known about. I don't even know if I searched daddy-daughter stuff, if I'd come up with anything other than daddy-daughter dance videos.
Well, don't click on the videos tab.
Touche. Images.
Yeah.
But I think it's great. And on the flip side, I do get jealous because I wish there was something like that for mothers and sons, because it's always mother-son bowling, which is fine, but I would love to go do something. But then it would be all like rock wall climbing and stuff I don't want to do. But.
Yeah, it's interesting that Todd had another daughter.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like if he had a son, he'd be like, okay, I got to do a flip side one now. I mean, it's true.
There are a lot of, I think there's probably more things for sons and moms too. And
really,
well, here's the thing, that boys are a little bit easier. What do you want to go do? I want to go outside and throw sticks at a tree. Okay, cool. The stuff that boys pick to do is stuff that a mom can, or a woman can very easily acclimate. Okay, I can handle that, but it's harder for dads when your daughter's like, I want to play Barbies.
Yeah, but is that bonding for that mom? So that's the thing. I think
that's true.
I think dads typically bond well with the boys, and moms typically bond well with the girls. It's just the opposite sex.
Yeah.
That's just what works. But is it specific time for them?
Very good point. Because no, I do not bond when Sully and I are playing Legos.
No, I mean, yeah, you'd want to be anywhere else. I mean, yeah, you're like, oh, this is nice. We're spending some time together, but you're not. Yeah, I just don't feel like.
I'm more gazing at him and so cute.
Yeah.
Remember when you were a baby?
Right. So, just a thought.
Yeah. So, yeah, tap into Todd. Tell him to start planning some.
I don't. The way he spoke he is stretched thin.
Fine.
So.
Does he have a friend who would like to plan it for him?
No. I mean, it's an awesome organization. He does everything well. He's just a great. I mean, you heard on the podcast, he was like the entertainer writer for, I don't know if he was a writer per se, but I kept calling him an MC, but he basically went to the stuff, and I think he wrote about it. But yeah, he's an awesome dude. Mm-hmm. Like he's really nice.
Yeah.
Down to earth kind of guy.
Yeah, I look forward to you signing back up and and getting to do this stuff, but also seeing where this goes.
Yeah.
You know, our daughter is not going to be little for much longer. And so it'll just be interesting when when you guys aren't doing it anymore to see where it is. Because I feel like you and Todd kind of had a bond and you might be in each other's lives for a bit.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that it took this long for us to connect because we have, and you know, he's got some stories too, you know, I mean, not just the divorce, but you know, life didn't go his way, and it's just nice to bond with somebody like that. And I didn't know his story. And I was so excited when I reached out to him. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, okay. Like, it wasn't like, oh, let me think about it. It was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, I skipped over a lot of that because you can hear the story in the last episode if you want to. He's a really cool guy with a really cool story. And that's the whole point of what you and Ben do here is you have the you and Ben time and talking about your stuff, but then also bringing in people with really neat stories that you may not know because you might know Todd from his gigs, right? And see him on TV or hear him. You're like, oh, like you had said, I just thought you're always happy. Yeah. And there's what you don't know is what drove all that stuff.
Well, it always is a cool, you know, I always like you go back to work. I go back to Joe Rogan. He always brings up the point. It's like, where can you hear somebody? He had Bernie Sanders on. They talked for 90 minutes.
They smoke pot.
No, Joe probably did. He's always smoking pot. But he was like, now Joe does lean left, but he's like, this guy's great, you know, because all you're seeing is these 2-minute little sound bites and snippets and stuff like that. But where do you get to sit down? And, you know, Todd even said, he's like, I missed the radio part of it. And even with the radio, it was just popping out between music. So he never really even got the long form of sitting down and talking to somebody. And, you know, just like somebody might not know who Todd is. And they're like, oh, this guy's really cool. Cause you just have the opportunity. That's what I love about the internet. It's just like, whatever. Yeah. If 100 people listen, so 100 people know more about Todd, or 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. It doesn't really matter. It's just really cool that we have this opportunity to meet some cool people. And I do miss sitting down with Ben, though. I know we've been jonesing for that. And so I would expect more of that in the next couple months.
Sure.
We have a couple other ones scheduled, interviews, but nothing huge. So
you guys going to start sitting side by side and holding hands?
Me and Ben?
During the podcast?
No, that kind of defeats talking back and forth.
Holding hands over the table?
That we might do. Maybe have a unity candle.
Yeah. Oh, we were at a wedding over the weekend, and there was a breeze. I could not.
You know, it's crazy. I think it was the location of where that.
We were up on
higher.
A hill.
So it didn't even feel that breezy, but I think it just kind of picked up.
Could not light the unity candle, those poor babies.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. But they rolled with it.
Oh, yeah. The bride has a really good laugh, and she was just chuckling during the whole thing, but yeah, goodness. So
that's it?
That's all I had.
Okay. So look for, some upcoming interviews and Ben and I hanging out. Look for our wives when we connect over Labor Day and what we're going to record.
Should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do it outside again, depending on how hot it is. Remember last time it was so hot? It was
raining. There's a torrential downpour.
That's right, but it was humid.
It got real humid.
Yeah, it was really sticky and uncomfortable.
Yeah, you guys got your content laid out. Don't disappoint us.
I don't know, man. Ben and I haven't even talked about it.
I mean, you can only really go up from the last one. So
that was funny. But no, we're looking forward to that. And look for Todd and his Dad Up podcast. So
yeah, and then it's daddydaughtertime.org, you said, right?
Yeah.
So suggest it to people because it's awesome.
Yeah, he needs to, in his podcast, like I'm already providing content. Like he needs to have a call to action to be like, hey, anyone that's in our organization this month, bringing Dad in. Because
next
tons
stop,
of dads.
Instagram. Just have a thing. Hashtag Dad Up.
Dad Up. Yeah, he probably already does have that.
Get t-shirts.
So, I did have an idea today.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see me light up?
Yes.
I'm just going to say it's not that big of a deal.
Don't say it. What if someone copies it?
It's not that. Anyone can do this. And I actually heard it from another podcast that they do specific merch for that event. So one of the comedians, like he goes to Houston and they have design a logo, they have their logo and they design something and it's specific for that. And when it's sold out, it's gone.
Oh, everybody loves swag.
Yeah. I feel like Todd or I got somebody that could probably do it. The big part is the designing part. You need someone that can design it and get it. I have somebody locally that can get it and print it. I know that the money is tight with him, so he probably worries about having leftovers, but I think that would be a cool idea. I mean, not give it to the people. They would have to buy it.
Yeah.
But I would buy that stuff. Like, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Well, that event I went to in Chicago, the work with a Q, I'm not talking about actual work, cardio, dance, fitness. With every registration, you got a bag with a t-shirt in it. So if you registered, it was there for you. Did not register, if you late registered, they just made it known you won't have a gift bag potentially.
Yeah.
So it could be as easy as doing something like that. You probably wouldn't have many leftovers. But
yeah, I mean, what you do when you make it specific for the event, you sell more. I mean, he would sell them to make.
Oh, it's like special concert tees that only are sold on the tour.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, maybe that's overthinking it, but I thought, yeah, that would be kind of cool. I mean, yeah, I don't want to go every event and have to buy one, but if I saw a design that was cool or, kids love that crap too. You know what I mean? Avery would be like, oh, I want a t-shirt.
You're a sucker for swag.
Yeah, I know. And he's not going to make a killing on it, but if he can make $5 on a t-shirt, I mean, it's $5 more he has in his pocket. So I'll be running that past him.
I think maybe for the year, 2000, Daddy Daughter 2020 has its own t-shirt, and then maybe you go from that point.
Oh, you mean specific year?
Yeah, because then you and your daughter can match all year.
Yeah, that's true. You could have someone create a design for that year. And then that's what Laugh Fest does. Mm-hmm. They have a new shirt.
You buy it every year.
Every year. I got a lot.
Love it.
They're so soft.
You bought socks last year.
Oh, so nice. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. I know I say this all the time, but please review us. We are at, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it.
I don't know. It's not ready.
How do you know?
I don't know. You've been talking about it a lot.
Well, so I'll just short version. Apple is changing their categories. They're making a ton more so people can span out a little bit. And Threads is in the relationship category. And we've been trending at about 105.
The top 105.
The top 105 podcasts. So if everyone that listens to this, and I know there's so many people that listen to this, Josh Mariga, please review us. If you like it, it takes, a couple of minutes to just review it at 5-star and we can move up. Can we get to the top 100?
I think the last time I was on, we talked about Josh Mariga too.
Yeah, you said it.
So he's somebody I work with, and I popped into his office, which is a completely different building than my office. And I happened to be in this building, popped up to say hi because we live in the same city. And he was listening to Threads. And I was like, what is happening?
I would freak. Well, I mean, he's a fan, but can you imagine walking in someone and hearing your voice? I would freak out.
Well, I walked in and heard his voice. He's very soft spoken. And I popped in. Do I hear? Is that my husband? I'm listening to Threads. Oh, you'll be so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariga. Follow, comment. 5 stars.
You almost got it.
Oh, I was so close.
Rate, subscribe, and review.
Either way, if people did it, then Jason would stop talking about it so much at home.
No, I would. If we break that 100.
Or maybe it would be worse.
If we break that 100, I'm making a t-shirt.
Can I have one?
Yeah, if you want.
Yes.
Be the 100 top 100 podcasts on Apple Podcasts and relationships. So anyway, this rating could change because that's why Ben and I, we weren't going to talk about it, but it's been consistently around that. But they changing everything, so everything's kind of up in the air. So at one point we were number 1 in Japan and somewhere else we're about 33 now. Yeah, we've kind of settled into but we've been around between 100 and 104 was our top peak to 110. So, yeah.
You guys, I seriously hear this all the time.
I know. You love it. All right. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.